Hi, this is Carol Mixon from SkillCheck. Today I'm going to talk about who should I help first? Sometimes we don't know the right way to handle customers, especially if there's multiple people in the office. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Self-storage is a customer-focused business. And organizations that put the customer first are really commonly referred to as customer-oriented or customer-driven or customer-focused. They're really oriented towards serving the client's needs and measuring that customer satisfaction levels also in order to really determine the success of the business. So these companies believe that the employees should be trained on how to service customers and how to, especially when it's really busy. Triage can help you consistently provide that share-worthy service by prioritizing the customer's needs and then adjusting the level of expedience in your response. And you're probably saying, yeah, what does all that mean? Well, it's sort of like a medical triage. When you have battle conditions and that there are a lot of things happen at one time, then you start prioritizing. And that number one would be that first really immediate, they need immediate attention. The two priority would be you can delay it a little bit. The third priority would be sort of minor, and their fourth would be morgue, or the person's pretty just going to, they're dead and they're going to off somewhere else. That must be our moving out customers. So there is a triage even in self-storage. So when you're talking about these, we're looking at business goals, and it's really to make money and have happy customers, right? I mean, those two things have to coexist, but you need to be prepared. That's why you have a job. When a customer comes into the office or calls you on the phone, you need to have a triage approach to handling the customers in an effective and efficient manner. And this could be, even if you have a small, fairly slow office, there are times when several customers come in at once, or right before you're closing, you have 3 people come in and one wants to rent and one needs to move out, and there's, all kinds of things happening at one time. But remember, there are a couple of things that you can do to be prepared. And the first thing is to have all that rental paperwork prepared in advance and make sure that you put the items in the order that they come in. And I like to have the rental agreement up top. So that's the first thing I'm going to be giving them. We give them a change of address card. You may want to know how you heard about us. I like to give them those customer questionnaires while I'm busy putting things in the computer. So if you wouldn't mind filling out this questionnaire, and that it tells us how you found us, and then that way it gives me just a few minutes to put the information into the software. But keep in mind, start with that rental paperwork and scan the customer's license. If you get things that help you make the rental quicker, this makes a huge difference, especially in busy offices. And I know in my lifetime in self-storage, I have had the most rentals was like 42 rentals in one day. And it was havoc. There is nothing to say, but I don't think anything was filled out exactly properly. And at the time, we didn't have our computer going yet. We were on ledger cards. This was in the 80s, so we had ledger cards anyway, and the computer was something new, and we hadn't even gotten that set up. So the weird thing is that when you have multiple customers or a line of customers waiting for help, you absolutely, in fact, I was taking 3 people up at a time to show them different sizes. They were all college students, so we were right near the University of Arizona, and so they were, thank goodness they were patient, and they sort of are used. I think students are used to waiting in lines, especially when things like that happen. I don't think that's true with our regular customers, our customers that aren't in that kind of situation. So keep in mind, you want to have all your rental information ready to go, and you want to put that in the software. You want to keep them busy with that survey. You want to also show them how to use the gate entry and access system that you have. That may be just a special lock that you have to get in the door. It might be actually a coded the gate access system that they have to put their code in. And sometimes they forget whether it's a pound or a star or whatever, or even they forget the number. So all that happens a lot. But you also, I love to make sure when my managers have a gate system that they walk out there and show the customer how to do it, or let them see it, say, push the star, your numbers, and the pound, and then let them do it. Right, you can demonstrate, you tell them how to do it, and then you can give them the card, let them go through the process, and then if it doesn't open, and I can tell you that I've done this hundreds of times, I put it in the computer, and then I go out there and we try it, and it doesn't work. So then I go back and have to, re-put it in again, and then it works. But again, if I hadn't tested it, that customer immediately, and maybe when we weren't even having the office open, they were going to come in and then they couldn't get in, and then they get mad. So these are all things that help you avoid problems for sure. So make sure that you also remember to show the space, especially before you rent it, because some people, oh, I know it's a 10 by 10. And then they get out there and it's like, oh, I wanted the big wide door, not the little door. I'm like, well, you did say you wanted a 10 by 10, and this is the one we have available. I didn't know you wanted the other one. So, but remember to show them the space, because it's really important. And I've also, as an auditor, I noticed that when I see a lot of transfers, and I noticed one recently, I did have like 44 transfers, and I'm thinking they don't show the space. I knew it. I know absolutely for a fact that they're not showing the space, because when they get out there, then the customer is going to change. And they said, yeah, they've been, they didn't really go out and show the customer the space. So that's a problem too. Now, remember that handling customer triage is important. And that's going from the customer that's in the office that says, I want to rent, and I just rented, but I can't get the gate open, might be one. I'm late and I need to get some late fee waives, or excuse me, can someone cut off my lock? And we lost our keys. So when you have all of this going on in the office at one time, literally this is the way I would triage that. The person that wants the unit rented goes first. And I just rented and I can't get the gate open. I probably would let them through the gate, and when they come back out, I'll tell them, come back in and I'll show you how to use this and make sure it's right. I'm late and I need to see if I can get some late fee waives. Those people are going to be the last on my list. They've made us wait to get the payments, so I think that they can do that. And the people that have had their lock, they can certainly call the locksmith. I know some of you may not allow locksmith on the office, but we can also cut that off normally at my stores. So if you've lost your keys, but they're going to have to wait just a few minutes to be able to get that service done. I like to charge for that. Otherwise they lose keys a lot. In fact, even at storage places I've rented that weren't mine, I've had to have my lock cut off before. Yep, because I have a lot of disc lock keys. It's a whole thing. I'm like, yeah, none of them fit, so I don't know what to do. The other thing to think about is battle conditions, because when you've got multiple rentals going on at once, the gate's not working, one of the managers didn't show up for their shift, you've got break-ins, or maybe you've got storage walkers. Maybe those people that are out there trying to live out of their unit and they're crazy. Lots of things going on at once. You have to be able to remember that you're going to, when you're in battle conditions, do the best you can. But try to get the rentals done so you can get them, especially those people that have the trucks and that have everything there and they're just waiting to get in. In the past, I've let them in, sometimes to my peril, that it didn't fit or whatever. They looked at them like, oh, it's not going to work. But again, remember, battle conditions are a little bit different, and you have to be prepared. Always be prepared for battle, right? Well, who should be helped first then? Remember this. The first thing is the new customer. The new customer is priority, because they're just the highest priority, because as soon as we get them rented and get their money and get them as a customer, that we'll be happy with that. And then there's that current customer. And then the past due customer. The current customer, that's someone that may be paying their rent. They'll be a little bit more patient with you generally, because they generally know you. And then you've got the past due or the delinquent customers. And I will tell you, nowhere on this triangle do you see the supervisor, your owner, and anyone else. And what I expect, and what I would even ask my employees to do, is if they're on the phone with the customer, if there's stuff going on in the office, I always, as a supervisor, had to remember, are you busy working with someone? I asked that the first thing, or I try to remember to. Sometimes they didn't always, and they're like, hey, I've got a customer in the office, can I call you back? I'm like, oh, yes, yes, call me back. Or I'd say, don't forget to send in your deposit slips, and done. So as a supervisor, you need to remember to always ask. If you're a supervisor, say, or you're calling the office and you're the manager and your assistant's there, say, hey, are you working with the customer? And then talk to them about business. Because again, you don't want to sit there and talk about, all the things that you should, you want them to do when there's a customer renting or a customer in the office. So always ask, is there a customer there? And if not, call me back. If an emergency, if something's burning down, yes, it's different. But again, and the owner is not on here. Keep that in mind. It's a new customer, the current customer, and then the delinquent customer. I just love that. Just love the way that goes and that flows. So thank you so much for listening about who should be helped first. I think you've got the idea now. Again, my name is Carol Mixon from Skill Check Services. And if you could subscribe, we would love to have you do that. You can do that below. Just hit subscribe. And I'm trying to get at least 1,000 or so people listening and watching the videos. And if you have any topics, please send them in. I'd like to hear about whatever topic you'd like me to talk about. And so we can get it going for you. Thanks a lot and happy renting. Bye-bye.